Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. It's not a bad idea. We guarantee ourselves two mech healing serum. If I can store them so they don't get destroyed, it would guarantee me at least one valid clone I could use. Maybe two. All depending on what negative effect they get. Yeah, actually, I think it'd be a 50% chance I'd get one, and like a 12.5 whatever percent chance I'd get two. You only need it till you first dupe. Yeah, we can do that. Man, I do not do this enough to know where to start with. You mech healing serum 14. No, 2. And we'll only use it for duping one. If that's fine. We'll only use it for duping one. If we manage to get the one duped and everything's square, we'll just let the other one go. Alright, so add you. Actually, I guess I don't care about this one. Because normally, well, no, I probably still want. Because I like to add these ones that are like the mix of all of the different xenotypes, just so you have more chances to get them. And then the fights are more interesting because it's not just, oh, impids are all going to run at you and breathe fire, so there's no variance. And we will do the thing where I have to choose from the 8 starting ones just so I don't re-roll them again and again. Unless we run into a situation where, like, every single one of them is, incapable of carrying or something where it'd be, like, an impossible start. Or not impossible, but, like, incapable of carrying, incapable of violence or something like that where, it would be its own mega... Oh, 1 second. We got one thing we gotta change. Mods. Pollution spread. Off. Save and apply. I forgot I still had the pollution spread on there. I don't want to deal with that. It was a neat idea, but if we're doing this, we're talking a very, very slow start of a run. We can't sit there and get to the point where the pollution slowly overtakes us and unable to deal with it. So yeah, just turning off a mod that causes the wasters to slowly take over the world with pollution. So yeah, that was good catch on that one, because if we got in there and finally got the ball rolling and then we pull up the map and there's just like the pollution closing in from all sides, that'd have been a bummer. Okay, so let's go, hi, I'm Gary. Okay, cool, that's already set up. And strive to survive, commitment mode, do this, 100%. Add in these. Which those are just the factions you had before they added the biotech. Or no, it was not before biotech. What was the ones before that? Yeah, it was the ones before biotech, because biotech they added like the Impid faction, the Neanderthal faction, the Waster faction. They took the old pirate factions and they did give it so they could have the whole range of well, not all of them, but most of the xenotypes. So you don't get like Sanguiphage or Highmate or whatever. And I like having them in because it gives you opportunities to potentially capture a range of people. Because otherwise trying to get a hold of some of the xenotypes can be pretty rough because you gotta wait for a quest to pop or whatever. Does he dislike how the Yetkin and the Impids are implemented? Yetkin have animals despite living in cold areas where ranching sucks, and Impids suck at ranching in a location that's historically great at ranching. For me, it's more I dislike that they show up and it's just one xenotype. And so, like, it's fine. Alright. So we can put Gary anywhere we want. We have to avoid the particularly hot tiles, though. We are running no starting research, random research. So if I go to particularly hot tiles, that ends up being a major problem because once we start getting like overheated, there's no anything I can do about it. Unless we get lucky and the passive cooler shows up, we just die. And I'm not even talking heat wave, because like heat wave's certainly one thing, but even outside of heat wave, There's lots of problems. I'm kind of looking at the grassland, only because I haven't done grassland in a very long time, and ultra playing it has made me kind of like, oh yeah, you know, let's check it out. The grasslands do get a little on the warmer side, so I'm trying to find about as cold of a grassland as I can, which looks like I can probably find pretty cold. Yeah, 81. How are you year-round and dropping down to 74? Huh. Oh, that's temperate forest, that's why. I was like, wait a second. Yeah, so it looks like we can get down to about 80, so... We got a bunch of just kind of neutral, nothing going on habitats, and then mixed biomes. I just think if there's anything of interest here. Alright, let's just grab one of these ones that's cooler. And the reason I'm doing that is because it sucks to do, like, the no research start and immediately on the open. Yeah, so that one's got granite. That's what we'll do. 81. That's about as cool as we're gonna get. So we compare that to, like, tropical rainforest. I mean, I guess that's 80 as well. It's fine. We'll try it. Do this. Oh, right, I forgot. Because I was doing experiments off-stream with this. Load saved. Next. The people of Gary. Load anyways. So the people of Gary ideology was just prolicizer to, you know, make sure everyone is aware of the people of Gary. Otherwise it's just basically starting whatever. We had the moral guide of the voice of Gary, the leader, the head of Gary. The funeral is goodbye to Gary. The celebration of self is, you know, our lantern party. We have the altar that is the seed of Gary, the symbol of Gary, the cup of Gary, the fragment of Gary, and then I didn't care about the rest. Like, I didn't customize all of it. I just kind of named everything. So I'm going to do that. It's basically, it's a prolicizer ideology. That's all you need to know. Alright, so of the starting pawns, this would definitely be doable. Watch, it's going to be the entire list is nothing but women, which is fine. It just... That's almost already Gary. We're almost Gary already here. Just they just got the character backwards. It's a terrible pawn with her addiction, but you know. These are not great choices. Delicate weirdly would work well for knocking... Well, no, sorry, not delicate. It would be the wimp. Is the one where they fall down easier. Let's see. Asthma's no good. We really don't have good choices here. Huh. So we got a wimp, can't care, can't dumb labor, delicate, addiction, can't social and asthma, jealous and slow learner, and delicate. That's a lot of garbage is what that is. Yeah, we'll just do that. Okay, you're out. 97 years old. Alright, tough. At a minimum, that's a workable pawn. At a minimum, that's a workable pawn. Careful shooter cannibal, who can't social, you can't care, you can't care. Psychically dull cannibal. Body mod or ascetic would be fine if you weren't an addict. Ooh. Depressive would be very rough early on. I mean, depressive's always rough. Depressive's a terrible trait. But I'm excited about tough jogger. I don't think we put up with it. I think we're gonna go with this one. Which is gonna be rough because there's no social, there's very low medical, there's very low construction, just enough crafting to make a bow. The cooking is honestly not terrible for a start. Tough is good. So I think we're doing this. So it's gonna be Gary, Gary, Gary. And I think that's what we're gonna do, is we got our brand new colonist of Gary. Is I think what we got here. This is not a great one to start with. But it's fine. So first thing we're going to do if we're doing these memes is we're going to want to get that healing mech serum sealed in a wall. Like in a building, not outside. Or it'll just rot and then that defeats the whole point. Okay. So we are starting on a grasslands map. We got some food up here. There's going to be probably no good soil. I mean, there's okay-ish soil up there. Probably not going to go all the way up to the... because that's too close to the edge of the map. We got a little bit of okay soil over here, so let's go here. And for right now, you are going to be rice. Get that started. In the meantime, we're also going to need to make some type of structure here. I don't have the wood yet. So the problem with the grasslands map is a couple of things. One, there's very little wood. Two, there's very little metal. Three, it almost never rains and everything catches fire constantly. It's generally kind of a crap place. It is one of those tiles you think and be like, yeah, that's not that bad of a tile. And then you play it and you're like, oh, I need to put a lot more effort into making this not awful. So we'll downplay that, up here. And clean. Yeah, it'll be fine. You should have done the obelisk on day 1 just to build your base around it. This is true. This is true. It's day 7. We're going to be making our buildings out of wood, and there's always the risk the obelisk lands like here, which would be pretty awful. I'd like it to be roughly middle map. Even if it's like over here-ish, that's fine. But we'll deal with whatever it is. So good news we got berries right here. The good news we also have really good plants. So we're going to get the rice down, and we're going to cut up some trees, get ourselves a little wood box to hide in, and then pretty early we want to go ahead and get ourselves a bow. We want to get a bow right away. Because till we have a bow, we cannot even defend ourselves. I actually don't remember. Yeah, there are no geysers, so no geothermal. Give me a normal result. Hey! Actually, for 2 crafting, a normal result is high rolling. And thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. So we do have the start of building. It's steel, which means it'll burn easy down there. But there isn't any really good ones around here to utilize. And thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, so we're just trying to get the field planted. And then with that, we'll be able to cut down some trees. Alright, so with some trees, we can go here, structure. Actually, let's be smart about this. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll start with this furniture, drop a bed in there. Production. Okay. And go in here and say zone. Starting stockpile the inside the building, and dumping stockpile out here. And do not allow human-like corpses. All right. I missed that you were still doing this. Alright, so with that, we're going to bump up construction on the priority list. And then once that's done, we want them to build this box so we can chuck the healing mech serum in there we gave ourselves. For those who missed what we're doing, we are doing a run where we're going to be just cloning Gary. And we've given ourselves 2 healing mech serum just to lock in the first clone. After that, we gotta just deal with the cards we're dealt. Gary Newman of the Face Punch Studios. I hadn't heard any of that before. So you woke up long enough to eat a snack. What's your shooting? 4. You do have a passion, though, for it. So haul that back real fast. And so one of the other things we're going to need to do here is once we get this box filled in, the next step we're going to want to do to make sure we don't have lots of problems is I'm going to put a ceiling around the outside of it to limit the grass growth there, to limit fire spread. Because generally speaking, it very, very rarely rains on these tiles. Okay, we're building. We're just going to go through here. Make a tribal wear once. Make a face mask once, because your crafting sucks, so don't wait to do anything real fancy. Will any of the world's pawns named Gary be allowed to join? I mean, if we had a random Gary join, I think we would allow it. Because I'm not even sure there is a Gary in the list of names to begin with. And the odds that that happens and be not a terrible pawn are so exceptionally low. It's kind of a nod thing. There would be an honorary Gary. The thing that I am considering is if we get the opportunity for an unnatural healer, we might keep them along just to allow us to clone Garys. But the idea would be we would get like the Ancient Danger or whatever, we'd toss them in the freezer and we'd keep them there. Yeah, Ancient Danger. We would just freeze them in the Ancient Danger until it's time to clone a Gary. And then they'd pop out, heal the Gary if that is needed, and then go back in the freezer. There would be a non-participant. Not gonna lie, you did half expect a mod to add SpongeBob Gary's skin onto the pawn. You're sad there isn't. Okay, so you're cleaning stuff. Let's first of all, I see all this home zone here. Don't do that. So we're gonna need more wood from what I'm seeing because you're cleaning the floor. Oh, you need to stop and actually get those berries. There's some berries. Alright, because we need to get this thing sealed up pretty quick. Because otherwise this is just going to keep rotting out here, defeating the whole point. Keeping in mind, I believe when the obelisk lands, it'll start a fire, if I remember correctly. Alright, so zone, build roof, and I believe fires can actually jump 4 tiles. So we are building a roof around the entire base here, and the reason we're doing this is all your plants typically need sunlight to grow. And so the idea here is the grass should die, leaving a dirt, you know, a dirt gap. Thematically, it'd be good if you could make them expendable. Yeah, we'll see what we can do. Alright, let's get with you. I have nothing for you that I'm willing to trade. Isn't there a cloning thing as an alternative to having babies? I mean, there is the cloning obelisk. Otherwise, for the children, it's you can use a vat to make them grow up faster, or it's, you know, just whatever. So let's go here now. We're gonna take construction down a peg. That's not true. We're gonna leave construction up, actually. We do need some steel, so go down here. Because that's made out of steel, actually. Cancel this. Uninstall, reinstall you. So we got a table to eat at. I'm not paying attention. You need more food. You got spare. Yeah, I think the growth fats. Yeah, so it's not cloning. It just speeds up. It's an alternative way of like growing the kids up. Okay, so we're getting the research bench built. Mad porcupine. Hit it. Nicely done. Oh, they should have the gay trade or not? I mean, I don't remember if Gary in Fallout was or wasn't. I don't think they ever established that. I think the whole gimmick around the Gary vault was just it was a dude, Gary, who liked Gary. And then they just were like, okay, but you're just gonna like mass clone Gary or something like that. I don't remember the exact details in that vault. All the vaults are very cursed. And we can set you to do that. Alright. This another steel ruin. Excellent. And then I need to choose random research. So we got heavy bridges for our first one. Cool, that's terrible. Let's go through and start fixing our assignments. So food, lavish. You can't eat rotten anyway, so it's always weird that it lists that. No baby food. No corpses. And that takes care of that. We can go to our peril policy. No tainted. I need to go into there and fix the default medicine to be tribal. And we won't worry about the drug policy till that comes up. Oh, we will also go to assignment and do not read the tomes. Gary seems lonely. Don't worry. Gary is going to spend a lot of his time with himself. It'll be fine. Oh, recreation. Recreation. Yeah, but you notice I'm keeping the construction turned up, but I'm also deliberately not queuing up that much. I'm trying to be better about that. We'll just keep just a few meals. Unless it's made out of meat. Because it'll extend the shelf life of the meat if we make it out of other stuff. Also, going to be burning a fair amount of time suppressing the obelisk? Yes. Now, one of the catches here is while I would love to build roofs along here to make again, more areas to prevent the spreading of fire, because I would need to use a wood column to do that, the column would become the thing that it bridges over. I also don't know with the yellow grass, like, how well it holds up with all that stuff. Can you stack rocks so they make a fire break? Not like that. I can build walls out of stone once I have the technology to cut the stone into bricks to build walls, and that's usually your best way to protect from that. Do floor paths and floor types prevent that? Yeah, so if I put down stone floors, they can't burn, so it will prevent the spread of fire, like if I make it the distance, because the fires can spread, I believe, 4 tiles. So if I make a stone path that's like 4 tiles wide, it can't jump there, and the same with the blight. If I have just 1 tile, I can just jump right over. Okay, so it looks like we're already getting the rice up. It'll probably have plenty, so we can switch you over to potatoes. And then we could set you over to strawberries. Alright, so you got our first attack. It is a tough Meandrist who has a very, very slight movement speed penalty. So we want to get a hit, leg or torso would be good. I canceled too soon. Yeah, because Gary here is moving at 4.6, and this person's moving at 4.4. So the unfortunate reality is we're moving almost the same speed, so we're going to go ahead and do this cat and mouse game of just running around here. We're going to trigger where it's like, ancient danger! And I probably should have eaten on the way in. I debated it. But I was worried about getting food poisoning and like instantly killing Gary. I'm surprised you didn't trigger Ancient Danger. That clearly is the Ancient Danger. Okay. But basically, we keep running till he's pretty close to the edge of our range. We stop, we crack a shot off, and then we start running again. And the moment we get a leg or a torso hit, that's when things start to get easier for us. Because once I get one of those two hit, they slow down tremendously. Hit him. Yeah, what do we get? What do we get? It is an arm hit and not a good one. So we run. There it is. Now, good news is they do have a bleed on them. It's not a good bleed, but if we do hit the point where they start getting minor blood loss and all that kind of stuff, that will also slow them down. I'm surprised you're already getting to the edge of our range. We'll wait till we get around here to this open spot, and he'll start cracking some shots off at him again. Well, shot singular. Oh, wait. Don't you light my stuff on fire. Nice hit. And we got a spine hit, so we have reduced their movement speed by another 20%. At this point, as long as we don't like starve too much and have a mood break, we should be good to go. Would you stop trying to turn and set my stuff on fire? That was a little closer than I should let him. There's also another hit. Another torso hit. Okay. Come on, Gary. Get your head in the game, man. Kaori's over here trying to smack you in the face with a hammer. Well, club. You're also getting mad because you're really getting hungry. Nice. Another hit. Okay, so you got some really solid bleed going on you now. Is the wind whispering loser? Why would the wind be whispering loser? I don't understand. So what's the actual expansion plan for the run? It's like, Gary, you're killing me. Ah, it's a Rick and Morty reference? Gotcha, I didn't catch it. I watched the earlier seasons of Rick and Morty and I don't watch much TV, so I just never like caught up with it. It is possible it's like early Rick and Morty, I just don't remember. There you go. So your clothes are my clothes now. Thank you for your contribution to the colony. It's fine. I'll let you eat that. I'm gonna force you to wear these. Look, man. I just wanted your clothes, not to kill you. Now I gotta go and sort out your corpse. Oh, good. Hey, Vulture. Can you call all your... Oh, there you go. Bring them all in. Maybe I won't have to deal with your corpse. vultures feasted and passed out. Yep. So we definitely want to be rid of those corpses. We don't have a good place to dispose of them for the purposes of rotting them or whatever. So the corpse disposal strategy is going to be, this is a corner. Well, actually, there's that there. Steel. That's steel. Huh. There really isn't a good place for this, is there? We'll tuck it in this little pocket back here. So here, clear, low, human-like corpses. And do not home zone it. I don't care if it burns. Hey, how's it going? Wait, Snoo is here? Where's Snoo? Oh, there you are. Are you doing Fallout Gary RimWorld run? Yes. We are doing a Fallout Gary RimWorld run, where we're deliberately going to have the obelisk that allows you to clone yourself appear, and that is how we're growing our colony. The only colonists other than clones we will permit is if we happen to find another Gary, which is basically 0 chance. Or if we get one unnatural healer, we will have an unnatural healer who will spend most of their time in cryo freeze and just be there to cure the Garys of their various cloning diseases. Because otherwise the Garys will just clone and die again and again. For those who don't know, Snoot, absolutely fantastic content creators. Also played lots of RimWorld and all that good stuff. Very fun times. Highly recommended. It is going to be magnificent. That's what I'm hoping. We'll see how it goes. The first thing that's going to happen is the obelisk is going to crash down and then burn down the whole map. But, you know, that is what it is. Alright, we won't do the mechanoid signal yet. So one thing I'm also going to do to speed this process up is I'm going to go to cut plants. This grass around us needs to go. I normally don't take the time to manually cut the fire break, but yeah. We did put down roofs, so the grass shouldn't grow there. But no, it's good having you. Also, can we get a did we get a shout out for Treacle yet? Because we should get a shout out for Treacle and Azriel as well. And also thank you for the 10 stream streak, Azriel. I do appreciate it. All right, so we got all our rice up, which is overkill for what we have. Let's go ahead and make that corn plant, which is probably riskier. But Treacle's another fantastic content creator. Also plays RimWorld among other games. Lots of similar games. What we've done is like done Hotel Architect, all that kind of good stuff. Highly recommend. But yeah, so definitely recommend. Both excellent creators. All right. Okay, so with this, I'm going to sell the leaves. And if people didn't see, we did give ourselves 2 healing mech serum just to get our first clone. After that, we're on our own. That way we can get 2 Garys to at least start the process. But that's the only thing I'm allowed to do. Like, if we get malaria, we're just not going to burn it. We'll destroy those after we get our first clone. If they're deemed unnecessary. It depends on what result we get. Yeah, so we're trying to slowly switch over our crops to going from the more laborious rice to less laborious things, because we are going to run into the problem that Gary is going to be spending a lot of time managing the corrupted obelisk, which has just appeared. So we want to suppress it. We can't research it, which is something I hadn't anticipated as a problem in this run. So wardening... Okay. So I'm gonna have to wake up the monolith to be able to reliably clone Gary. Because I can't study it. I can only suppress it. That is a weird choice. And I guess the reason that's the case is we don't have the anomaly tree open until we wake up the monolith. The problem we're going to run into with waking up the monolith is we'll be likely attacked by site stealers right away at the beginning. Do you even have the monolith? The monolith is usually on every map to start with. That's an interesting consideration. So I think we'll probably have to deal with that, is I'll have to get myself a trap or two to put on the house with the intent of, like, baiting stuff into it. Because, like I said, the sight stealers, the problem is I can't kite them like I did before. They're not visible until they're right on top of you. Yeah, it can dupe us while suppressing it with low, like, not super frequently, which will be fine. But there was a thing I had not anticipated running into. Yeah, that's kind of what we're thinking. We can get the creepy joiner, and regardless of who they are, we might accept them to wake up the monolith, and they could just be cannon fodder for the start of that. I mean, the sight stealers are still a problem. We'll see, because if they're unnatural healer, like I said, we get to keep them, and then the idea is as soon as we can get into the ancient danger, we drop them in the cooler, and Gary will be the only one permitted after that stage. Let's see, because it should be, what, 3 more days? Alright, well, we're not going to actually do anything with the hops. We do have the lynxes and timber wolves and all that kind of stuff running around, which is fine. I think in this case, we're actually going to plan to keep it lower. Because sooner or later, we're going to get sick that I won't be able to stop to deal with it. I wonder if it's a thing, if you set it to 0, every morning they run out, they suppress it, and then they go about their day. I mean, they keep going back, so we definitely don't want to make it way too low. I don't remember how much it goes up by per day. We'll definitely want to eventually wall it in so it doesn't, you know, take random hits and have problems. You can't get low. You can't get lower past 20%. I mean, that's 20% there. Yeah, no, you can go down to 10%. It looks like. Yeah, it does say 20% per day. I wasn't looking at it. You spent the entire day doing nothing but suppressing the monolith. That's literally all they did for the full day. To suppress it a little over 40%. Alright. Which is why I'm trying to very quickly get things off of our more laborious crops. Was intelligence going up? Does it go up with that? Because I know it's, actually the wardening skill that does this. They're at 1,113. Exotic goods trader. Alright. I got $13. What can I buy? Nothing. But you always have big colonies, so you never mind much when a guy spends all day doing something dumb. Well, that's the thing. Once you start getting to, like, 8 or 9 pawns, having someone burn their day doing stuff like that's not that big a deal. We're just dealing with one pawn who... We got tough, nothing else going for them, and their only passion is really combat and plants. And that's because we did the thing when we rolled the first 8, that I had to choose one. We did do one mulligan just because it was like, of the list we had either carrying, can't social, or whatever. Alright, you're not affiliated with anyone. How are your clothes? Oh, your clothes are much nicer than my clothes. Your clothes are so much nicer than my clothes. Oh yeah, give me your clothes, man. Those are my clothes now. I will patch you up and release you. If you join, I will be banishing you. To kind of like stick with the rules. Hearing that entire conversation without context is wild. Look, man. Dude had some threads. Let's wait on that, because I know this tile is one that wood is a little bit of a pain. You can sell corn when it's fully grown. I mean, I actually sell most of the, you can actually sell, like, all the things you grow, basically, or, like, products you make with the things you grow. But, you know. Okay, so you're suppressing it. Oh, no, you're right. I do get intelligence from it. That's interesting. So it uses the Warden skill to actually do it, but it does give us intelligence for doing it. A gift of plasteel. Thank you. Alright, so we're going to tell them, because we don't have complex clothing or anything, you can just make your clothes as you need to. Alright, so we still got construction set higher, but we're not queuing up anything else to be deconstructed right now. We got our little wood box. Lone Genius. So unfortunately, Lone Genius does not satisfy what we needed. So I am going to do this in a way that benefits me the most, because I'm going to just be unreasonable about it. I'm going to allow them to join. I wasn't ready to do that. Just Gary. And then the home of Gary. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go here. You're going to drop your weapon. And just to be fair with the rest of you, you're going to get the hell out of my colony. Look, man. It is what it is. You're not Gary. You can't stay. Yeah, I could have taken the clothes and all the other stuff there. I felt like I was already kind of being a little unfair in that I was grabbing his pulse lancer. But, you know, that was kind of my personal compromise for me. It's like, I'm grabbing your good weapon that I shouldn't have yet, but in return, I'm going to let you keep your other things that are better. And then we're going to take a minor mood penalty for 6 days for banishing and not Gary. It had to be done. They weren't Gary. Alright. And our home is now immune to fire from the outside. Obviously, if someone runs up and sets it on fire, that's a different story. I mean, actually, that's not true. This can catch fire and then jump up. You should have renamed him... Huh. Oh, that's... Okay. So from now on, anyone who ends up in our colony, like if Rose here joins us, and, you know, they're not Gary, we name them not Gary and then we banish them. And for the record, all the later Garys, we will give them the original Gary. All the other ones, we will give them other names, but the titles will be, like, also Gary. OG original Gary? Yep. Can we have second names like Larry, Barry, and Jerry? Well, what's going to end up happening is as the run goes on, we will give them different nicknames. They'll all be Gary, and they'll all have like even the title Gary. But we will give them nicknames that'll be like whoever puts their name in there. Oh, I'm Oregon. And we've got our first clone already. Welcome, Gary number 2. That did not take long. Are we doing clones only? Yep. Yep, and Fractal is a channel sponsor. They make computer cases, all that kind of stuff. Computer cases, seats, headsets, all that good things. Definitely good times. Alright. So that's all good stuff. Alright, so this is Researcher Gary. I'll have you be hauling, cleaning, and Researcher Gary. Oh, for those who haven't seen the message yet, while Gary interacted with the obelisk, it pulsed with energy and generated a flash of light. Gary found herself face to face to a copy of herself. The duplicate claims to be the real Gary and has joined your colony. Alright, so our first Gary clone. I'm going to go ahead and start the queue. If you would like to be the first fake Gary, the first not Gary, well, I mean, you're Gary. You're just the second Gary. Now, there's a number of outcomes that can happen. If we get the psychosis, that's fine. Psychosis is totally workable. Because then each of them would take a mech healing serum, and they're good, and then that's all our mech healing serums. If they have the crumbling mind, take a mech healing serum, and crumbling mind is sword. There's the monolith. We will need to wake up the monolith. Once you start cloning the copying human minds, the sanctity of the human life gets really low real fast. Yeah, it does bring up a lot of questions. Most of them with pretty upsetting answers. Alright, so we're about to have an ad break. I'm going to quickly use the restroom during this one, and while that happens, like, we'll draw the name right after the ad break, because, you know, that seems like a reasonable amount of time. Yeah, so I've got a hauling / researcher Gary. Oh, if people want to take their username and do a Gary pun, just if your name is drawn, let me know your Gary pun. And I am down for that. Why are you so... Oh, you observed corpses. Yeah, that's fair. Alright, let me quickly use the restroom. I'll be back in a minute, and thank you again for tuning in. Okay, and I am back. Alright, so we're just gonna let the ad break finish real fast, and then we'll do that drawing. I'm also sneaking a little bit of my dinner that I didn't sneak in earlier. Yeah, so let's see what happens with other Gary, second Gary. I'm setting up you 100% actually disable people copying Monolith in your playthrough. It just does not feel the same level of attachment. Probably someone plays different, of course, just my preference, just for that run. Oh yeah, I mean, that's fine. You be, Fangary, Frenchman. Okay, so you're over here disassembling things while you're hauling them. Yeah, so eventually we'll start catching up to this. So one of the next things we're probably going to want to get going is we are going to want to get some bedrooms going on here. Because we do a couple of bedrooms here real quick. We can also use these as additional protection for the crops. We can go here and go zone, build roof. We definitely don't want that too close to the houses, because that's going to potentially have like wood and other stuff in it. Okay. Alright, so we're going to do our drawing of who gets to be the first Gary clone. And that is going to be Rongor. So Rongor, I can just name them Rongor, which is what I'll start with. If you would like a play on your name, Gary. Oh, we'll actually go ahead and do this. Second Gary. Oh, so I typed the right keys. Second Gary. Wrong Gary. Excellent. So we've got Wrong Gary, the first Gary clone, but we actually will keep track of, like, if it's the second Gary, the third Gary. The big question comes down the road is when a clone is cloned, how do we want to do that? I wonder if we have enough characters to be, like, second Gary first removed? Or, yeah, 3A, B, C. Second Gary. Oh yeah, that would work. As long as we have enough characters, yeah, second Gary. And then when we start getting down the road, it's just like too far down. Then 3 BII. Second Gary twice removed on the mother's side. Oh, we also probably need to go in here. Bump that up to 10 meals. So we're just waiting for the shoe to drop. Oh, you are dealing with hypothermia. That is a problem. Man, is it really that cold on this map? In permanent summer, we are at almost freezing temperatures here. So temperature... we're gonna have to have... Gary is gonna go ahead and build a fire. I mean, the big problem is it was 3C, with no clothes on. Alright, so again, attacks immediately. Dude with knife. The Garys will not put up with this. Stealing that Charge Lancer was a little bit cheesy. We had a creepy joiner, we stole their Charge Lancer. And then told them to get the hell out because her name wasn't Gary. He walked in the wrong neighborhood for not being a Gary. Yep. Unfortunately... Oh, you know what? If I had a place to keep you prisoner, I'd patch them up and send them on their way. So, Crumbling Mine on wrong Gary. So you're going to use the healing mech serum to cure the Crumbling Mine, because we did give ourselves 2 of those for the initial Garys. Alright, so wrong Gary will be alive forever. I know it's RimWorld, and I'm courting death with that. But, like, you know, probably forever. Oh, you know what? It's okay. It's okay. We're fine. I said I was only going to use the mech healing serum just for the first one. I unintentionally made sure that was true. By curing the hypothermia. Stupid RimWorld prioritization on the medicine is so backwards so much of the time. Life-threatening disease. Mild discomfort. Gotta cure the discomfort. But that was the point. We're only supposed to get the first Gary from it. And then from here on out, we gotta deal with it. We gotta deal with it how we gotta deal with it, which is going to be probably organ harvesting people. We are going to need to organ harvest this run a lot, aren't we? Because there's 5 possible outcomes if I'm not mistaken, and one of them is organ decay. Good thing you got Gary for organs. Sadly speaking, with the Crumbling Mind one, that, like, if we're talking about actually getting Garys to survive, that actually isn't a bad call to be like, oh, Crumbling Mind, unable to fix it. That Gary shall fall so the other Gary may live. Or when we get the Gary that is where one of them must die. You know. This Gary on Gary violence is getting out of hand. But yeah, I'm deliberately building these wide so I can sit there and put this area around so I can slowly work my base around this. Just with the fire breaks. Honestly, let's not even wake up the monolith. We can just keep suppressing that forever. Can we even call it violence if all copies or no unique personality is lost? Maybe it's more like clipping your own nails. I mean, but that gets into the whole thing. Like, each Gary has their own consciousness, what qualifies as a person, yada yada. I would definitely argue, you know, a perfect matching clone qualifies as a person. They definitely have to fight to the death before it's over. It's like having twins. If you're in any type of, you know, sci-fi or fantasy, and you have twins, at some point they have to fight. Most likely to the death. It's just, I don't make the rules, it's just how it works. It's how the universe works. Someone in our chat, that's a lot of things. My favorite was, so in Star Wars Legends, so the old canon, they literally call that out in one of their books, that there are, like, Leia and Han have a couple, like, have twins. And it is actually one of the things that, like, one of the things I was like, oh, they're twins. They have to fight to the death. And, like, this group trying to orchestrate making them fight to the death. Okay. So the pro con we have here is the base I'm doing is setting it up to be better able to handle fire. Ooh, Jogger body modifier. Jason and Jaina, I think of the names. Yep, Jason and Jaina were the twins, and then their younger brother Anakin. Jaina, who was a very, very excellent, like strong female character. Jason, who is probably the most interesting one to follow the dark side, and Anakin, who was interesting. And that's the worst two book series ever. The Yuzhong Vongold canon. I wouldn't consider, so it's because that's the thing when you're talking about the twins, you're talking. I actually like the Yuzhong Vong like the series. Did you actually hit a leg? I don't know which one's gonna be faster. But it's okay if it's not your jam. Yeah, like the ones that got me was the was it Jedi Academy? There was one of the ones where I was like, oh my god, these kids are just running around and is utterly obnoxious. Okay, keep hitting Victor. Come on, Ron Gary, you gotta help out Gary. Gary brought you into this world and expects you to pull your weight. Heat signature? Can you spoil plot things for heat signature the game? Probably don't spoil it. Ah, there you go. You finally hit him. Oh, wait. It's tainted. Never mind. Good pun would be Snail Gary. Well, I'll even say this. If your name is drawn, and you've got a fun Gary name, even if it's not your screen name, I'm willing to at least hear it out with the potential of using it. I do reserve the right to veto, though. Yeah, no, I've actually played Heat Signature once. It's more generally, we do try to avoid, like, spoiling stuff. Granted, the likelihood of someone popping here right now is going to go off and play Heat Signature and be upset about being spoiled is a pretty low risk. It's just kind of one of those things. Like the two brother crap we got now. Okay, so low-key, I like the current canon more than most. Like, a lot of people really crap on it. And, like, don't get me wrong, there's problems. Episode 8 is a problem in its entirety. But, like, we definitely had some crap in the old canon, too. It just didn't get to the box office. Because there was some pretty garbage books that we got. Disturbing vision. Yeah, that's fine. We don't need to wake up the moth. High Republic stuff is great. Yeah. Well, even like the actual movies. Like I know a lot of people are really, really upset about like episode 8 and 9. And like I said, episode 8 was definitely not great. Of all the Star Wars things, I definitely put episode 8 as my bottom rung of the movies. But like, I know a lot of people dump on episode 9, and I'm kind of sympathetic in the situation there to the people. It's like, okay, you got handed the situation that episode 8 created, and you got to do something with it. And I feel like considering where they had to start with, they did okay. So you can get some toxic stuff. I don't think we want toxic waste on our map. You think if you got in, you would pretty much request Garikal or Garikal or Garikal. The second one sounding more like a mode of transportation, hence why I came up with the first one. I feel like Disney's #1 problem with the 7, 8, 9 is they wanted the original actors. Yeah, no, I definitely think because and it is one of those things like episode 7 I actually think was pretty good. It was basically A New Hope again, but like they were doing the, exchanging of the guard. But it was kind of like one of those things like, yeah, but I do feel like it need to be a trading of the guard where like the original characters, they did their moment, they set up the new characters, and then they got out of the way. Not because I don't love the old characters, but I mean those actors are like 70, 80s, and 90s year old. They're not gonna be doing movies for the entire series or anything like that. No judgment about age or whatever. It is time for someone else to be in the limelight. Well, I wouldn't. So to be clear with that running, I wouldn't say the issues we had with 7, 8, and 9 had anything to do with like corporate greed. For me, the reading between like the lines of what happened, because like I think 78 is I think 7 is a perfectly good movie, and I think 9 is okay considering what it got handed. For me, with 8, the director is a director who just likes always to subvert expectations. And I think what happened is that director kind of went off the rails, way off to the side, and gave Disney some serious heartburn, and they said, rein it in. And so you didn't get anything satisfactory. You didn't get something kind of way out in the fringes to, like, be something different, which I think would have just upset a whole lot of people, but at least would have been kind of something in its own thoughts or whatever. But because they kind of reined it in, but kind of didn't rein in it, it kind of got weird issue going on there. Problems they had to deal with the Carrie Fisher's death. Yeah, that was another thing, because they had planned on Carrie Fisher having a lot more parts in it, and then, you know, the actress passed away. And then they're like, crap, so they had to kind of kill her off camera kind of thing. You know, they basically CGI'd a Carrie Fisher just so they could kill her off kind of deal. Or no, they didn't do it. They literally killed her off camera. It was just like, oh, she's just gone. That's right. But yeah. So, while I don't disagree that corporate search for profit, I would not say that was the problem with the sequel trilogy. I would say that sequel trilogy basically kind of suffered because you had the movie being pulled in 2 or 3 just, you know, different directions, and ultimately that meant it didn't satisfy anyone. I think if the person got to, like, go off and do his own thing like he had been planning, you would have had some people who would have liked it. I think it would have still been a lot more people upset than happy, but at least you got something. So it's also getting rid of the original cast. They got away from the royalties and had the legitimate way to get rid of them. I mean, they would still have royalties on the old movies, but yeah, I mean, I can see people being like, oh, it's just a money grab or whatever, but it's like, those actors and actresses weren't making much new stuff because all of them were basically retiring. Like, that to me, as much as, you know, I'll like to shake my fist at corporate greed, as like them moving on from Mark Hamill and all that. It's like the dude's coming up on, what is it, 80 years old? Like, I love some Mark Hamill, but let the man take a break. Making movies is a lot of work. And Harrison Ford wanted to die in almost every one of the movies. It's like, you need to kill Han Solo in this one. It'll be good media. But Han Solo sold too well, so they kept not killing him. They had that, I think it was like episodes 5 and 6 that Harrison Ford pitched having Han Solo get killed off. Yeah, no, Mark Hamill's Joker is just gold. Like I said, for me, the problem we ran into is primarily not even about the money. It's the storytelling in 8 was just terrible. But like, genuinely to this day, I will hold up Rogue One as the best of the Star Wars movies. The original trilogy would come after that. Did you start with the Charged Lance? No, we had a creepy joiner and we took it from them. The creepy joiner showed up and then we took it from the creepy joiner. There's so many ideas they could have done if they didn't have to use the original actors. Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of different things, and you'll have people probably argue to no end, like, what was the thing they could have done better, and honestly, most answers are probably true. So we remove the beds from there. Now they'll have a crappy bedroom, which won't be too much better. But we'll see what we can do with that. If we can get these to be a little bit nicer, that'll go a long way for managing the mood of Gary. Oh, another thing we should do, clear. Knife is a no. Club is a no. And then for this out here, we will allow all except human corpses. Didn't say there was going to be a Darth Vader movie, like they did with Han Solo. There was a whole trilogy. I mean, I guess arguably there was 2 trilogies if you really want to get technical about it. As much fun as a Darth Vader character is, if we really boil it down to literally episodes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are basically the story of Anakin. Like, of the movies, Darth Vader dominates 2/3. About his backstory, we saw his backstory. That was episodes 1, 2, and 3. You saw young Anakin turn to the dark side. Now, don't get me wrong, like, the romance in it was terrible, but, like, there's a whole trilogy that's his backstory. That literally is what the trilogy is. Between 3 and 4? Okay. I mean, you've got that presented in, like, the games and the books and all that. I mean, Obi-Wan also covers that. The Obi-Wan series also gets into that as well. Because we're all money. I mean, don't get me wrong, I would be perfectly fine if they want to do more and flesh out more stuff in there. I'm not wrong with that. I didn't hear about a Darth Vader one, and I usually stay on top of these. I think that's probably something that's more rumor mill, unless you can find a source. Isn't that what the animated Rebels... Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, Rebels also kind of covers that same time frame with the Inquisitors and all that, and then you've got the games of the Inquisitors, the, both the games of the Fallen Order and all that cover that same time frame as well. I feel like they've actually kind of got it boxed in where it'd be hard to cover that in a movie without conflicting with the existing storyline, which, you know, they'll do from time to time. I actually don't want more Darth Vader. Like, Darth Vader's a cool character, but, like, you know, he dominates so much of the IP. You're 2 episodes into the Maul animated series. Not sure what to think about it. Yeah, no, like, I'd like to see High Republic stuff, Old Republic stuff, like the Old Republic, not the Old Republic from, you know, from episodes 1, 2, and 3. I'd love to see that. The Old Order, like when we had, you know, during the High Republic where the Sith were like an actual faction and all that. I'd love to see that, because we have that in the games. We had that in Knights of the Old Republic, the RPG, not the MMO, because I always mix up the 2 names of those ones. You wouldn't mind a Darth Bane movie or anime series? Yeah, and that's the thing. I'd love to see them expand into some of the other characters. If they're going to do a Leia one with her real-life daughter played young Leia. No, it was an Obi-Wan series they had young Leia. That's right. Now I feel like you should play the KOTOR again. KOTOR is one of those games that I hold up as, like, the storytelling is like S tier. The gameplay is admittedly, it's fine. I love the story, I love the upsets and all that. It's great from that angle. But you go back to those games like, you know what? This is just okay. KOTOR 1 is rough, especially after 2. Yeah, no, I definitely remember circling back to play KOTOR 1. I was like, oh man, this is This is not a great experience. So it should be pretty done. Oh, you're still cutting trees. Hang on. Let's get a stop to that. I didn't realize you're still that backlogged. Okay, so one thing we could do here a little bit. As much as, well... Okay. It'd be a mistake to do the totematic floors. How much wood would that be? 500. Versus 78. Let's start with just the normal floors. That won't give us a bonus to the attractiveness of the room, but it will remove the penalty. You're curious on what this newer High Republic Star Wars game is going to be like? Yeah, no idea. You know, the game remastering, they couldn't give KOTOR an update. Yeah, I mean, well, part of it is, like, what makes KOTOR magic is, like, the big reveal, and let's not spoil it for people who haven't played. But, like, it is one of those games you play and you get the reveal, and you can see it coming kind of thing. But still, like, oh, man. And, like, once you've had that, like, going back to replay it, you already know the upset, the reveal, whatever. I definitely feel like there are games you play and the story only sticks well once, and I feel like that's one of them. And not to say, like, in a bad way or anything. Like, there's some of those games that, like, the big reveal, they are only good one time. Because, like, once you know, you know. What are you working on now, Rongori? Yeah, you're still hauling the wood and junk I scattered everywhere. So we're getting no research done because I got you busy doing that. Unknown threat for a book that's recreation? Probably not. KOTOR 1 HK47 is prime storytelling. Looks there are 15 Gary pawns in RimWorld. Wow, I was not aware of that. That actually gives it better odds than I was giving it credit for. So honestly, set you to be corn also, because that'll be less labor. Yeah, because I need Ronguri to start doing some research. I've got them doing the cleaning and hauling. If we can get the plant cut and grow person more not busy, then it'd open you up for the cleaning and hauling. Yeah, it's fine. So you prioritize clean, then haul. Let's also make sure I didn't accidentally make a home zone with all the stuff I was doing. Yeah, I don't actually need you to home zone the dumping stockpile. HK47 is probably one of the best characters in the lore. Yeah. Alright, so with that, we're finally getting research moving. Badly, but it is moving. One of the other things we want to do is once we can get some more wood, and let's see what it actually said about their rooms. Okay, so we at least didn't get a penalty for the rooms being there, so we got fairly neutral rooms. So that's pretty good. The next thing we'll want to do is change, like, to actually having a break room of some kind, of rec room. But to do that, we're going to need a bit more wood hauled back and all that. It's actually one thing we got going on here is, Oh, make sure the wood goes outside. No wood in there. It does take the grass a long time to die from being, you know, under the shade. Still, that basically means it got a big block, so any fire up here shouldn't be a problem. As we work around, we can sit there and start slowly making it so our fields, until something gets in and sets it on fire, will be safe. Another thing we can also do, so the danger is if I bridge this to seal it in, that becomes a source for the stuff to burn across, which is fine. But once we get stone cutting, we can start replacing the outer perimeter with stone. Yep. Yeah, no, you can cut grass. We started to do that with the last one, and right when we started to cut the grass, it just died, so I'm just going to let it go. If we do have a fire come, we can prematurely cut the grass to give ourselves some protection. Okay. And we'll see when we get our next Gary. So what we'll probably do is any Gary that gets the cloning psychosis, which is where one of the two Garys must die, they become an organ donor. Because we will need that to save the Garys that have the organ decay going on. The Garys with crumbling mind, I might keep one of them or so to like deal. I might keep a couple of them to deal with like having combat pawns that are just okay, like for fodder. Then there is one or two things they can actually do. I want to say they can handle animals. I'm trying to remember. There's a couple things they can do. It's not a long list. It's a very short list of things they can do. Because they can social, they can handle animals, and there's like one or two other things. One thing we'll probably do down here. Well, that's interesting. Okay. Let me pop down here, because I'll probably put down some fiber corn. So does our Gary-based ideology also mean we need to make an effort to capture and recruit Garys in the wild? I haven't established that. I did say that we were, if we ran into a not clone Gary, but is a Gary, that I would be willing to bring them on board. We didn't get into the decision making around if we run into a wild Gary is bringing them into the fold a mission or like what have you, because I didn't think about the fact that, oh yeah, there could be pawns named Gary. Put that up for deconstruction. That's steel. Steel's gonna be not amazing on this map. This will definitely be a map that if we stay here, we will need to go at, well, actually, we'll want to stay here because we're doing the cloning thing. So to stay here, we're going to need to, oh man, so if we don't do the, I mean, you've got a long time till you're going to have age-related problems, I imagine. List of Garys has been posted on the Discord. Gary Scary Evans. Excellent. Okay. Yeah, no, so there's a group of Garys, and thank you for pulling that up, because I genuinely, this hadn't been the plan for today. Like, the colony took a hit as it do, and that's just what happened from there. Yeah, so we're pulling this up. And my plan from here is I'm going to put a pretty decent sized area to just make fiber corn, which is very laborious. Gives you not great wood, but at least be reliable wood for us. So we can continue to build the place and all that. Because I need a break room. Well, I don't need a break room. I'm going to build a break room because that'll give us another mood bonus. And at some point, I'm going to need some type of defensive setup. Because the challenges are, I could go in here and put like traps at the corners. But the problem with that is now something that the fire can now jump over and then get here. Unless I make them out of stone. Which is something we don't have a lot of until we get stone cutting. So it is just one of those things. We're going to need a storage building as well. Or storage space. Alright, so we got the shaman caravan. Okay. So, well, I want to keep the herbal medicine. We're about to get in our batch, so I'm going to sell the herbal medicine we've got. Just to get ourselves a little bit of money. Because these are all about ready to harvest pretty soon. And that should give us a pretty good chunk of herbal medicine. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So I'm gonna start making a break room. It'll be the same as we've been doing. Build a roof. To go 4 past where we need it. To slowly, like, make more of a barrier. Bunch of our meetings? That's no fun. I hope you, I hope the meetings go well and it's not like a whole big thing for you. Alright. And eventually we're going to want to get lights and all that going on here. Now, one good news about this tile is solar power is a very good option here. Because it's very rare you have anything but sunny weather. So using solar power and batteries is certainly a choice. You can use the chem fuel production. That's not a bad choice either. You just grow more than you need and just feed it into chem fuel. And that works pretty well. The wind also works relatively well on this map. And honestly, with what I'm doing here, I could literally put the wind turbines going back and forth here in this open field. I may have left myself enough space. This is probably not the right width for it or whatever, but that's another option. Geothermal's not an option. Water wheel's not an option. We could do the toxic, but that has its own side effects. Eventually I'd be down to doing bioferrite on this map, but we're gonna need more Garys before we're gonna be in a comfortable place to start taking on anomaly stuff, because we get like a revenant roll in, which we shouldn't get pretty early on. I mean, even the site stealers right now with just 2 Garys to deal with, it's just not enough Gary. Sometimes you just need more Gary. Oh, is this a Fallout reference? Yes. Like we were doing, like we talked about doing the cloning thing, because I was It was basically what happened is they've been experimenting with an idea for this run off stream for maybe making a YouTube series or whatever for. And then with that, like, someone was like, what is that setting I see down there that says, "Hi, I'm Gary"? And it's like, oh, you know, to explain, I was making like a Fallout, you know, because I wanted to do like a cloning one, not like a perfect pawn cloning, but you just clone a perfectly normal pawn again. And then it was like, yep. Alright, what are you getting mad about? Ugly environment, darkness, tattered apparel, slept on the ground, uncomfortable, awful bedroom. Oh no, they both have awful bedroom. Okay. Well, once I get this built, we could either make art to boost the attractiveness of these bedrooms. Why is it a beauty -4? Oh, it's dirty. So both of them got dirty at the same time, and now they're getting upset about it. Alright, so we've got a raid. It's been a while. Man with club. Transport pod crash. We'll deal with that in a minute. Don't hit wrong, Gary. Let's see. You feel seen by this game. When your bedroom is empty, you get upset, and you wait for a benevolent overlord to the galaxy to do something instead of cleaning yourself. Oh, you're retreating because, yeah. You are already mostly dead. Okay. We got some package meals. We got a person we're not going to do anything about. We got this one. Alright, transport pod crash on you. You're going to die in a matter of seconds. So, Gary, get out of here. Wrong, Gary. We're not gonna have time to save this person, so those clothes are nicer than your clothes, and I think you should have them. I think you deserve those clothes. Because also this dude is already super dead. I'll try to tend him for some medical XP, but I mean, we might get them. Yeah, we got them. Okay, but first, get yourself some upgrades. Alright, so what we could do here is I currently am out of space to keep you. Let's see, Wooly was your maxed out insanely powerful sidecast where you started duping at the end of your last run. Not Gary 1, Gary 2? No, we are allowing people to have naming in there, but if we look at the actual Gary, this Gary's title is Second Gary. So you've got Original Gary and Second Gary for the titles. Nicely done. That's like with the dude you captured who is not Gary. Yeah, so what we'll do is once we bring this person in, if they join us against my will, we will be naming them Not Gary and then sending them on their way to see if Not Gary ever comes back into our lives. Second Gary. Okay, and all the grass is dead around here. Okay, so bring the rest of the beers back so you don't run the whole way across the map just to grab a beer. Alright, so the corn is almost ready. And if we're lucky, we'll get another random clone soon. And then we gotta figure out what happens with the next random clone depending on what condition they get. The big challenge is going to be managing the Garys. We're going to have some pretty bad mood penalties for killed colonists. I think there's an extra mood penalty for organ harvesting your own people. Like, those are things that are going to end up happening because of the nature of what we're doing. I'm going to be forced to resort to that to manage the Garys. Unless we get an unnatural healer, which, like I said, we would allow ourselves one unnatural healer to pocket, but they're not going to work in the colony. They'll just go in the freezer in the Ancient Danger and just come out to cure the Garys. If we get that, which is a big if. Forced weather to pay, so this would be blind fog, which is pretty rough for us. But getting some glitter world would be good. And meanwhile, we got our person here. Not Gary. Is not Gary. Accept and banished. Alright, bring me the glitter world. And you're suppressing this thing, right? Yep. Yeah, get Not Gary out of here. Who does he think he is? Gary? Come on, man. We could definitely also, like, once we get a couple of Garys, we might be able to spare some Garys to work on getting us psychic powers. The challenge there is just going to be the fact that we already have, you know, one of the Garys, like, every other day loses half a day to just suppressing the monolith. And then trying to split them between the other things when they don't have a passion in any of it. We're not exactly going to be winning any awards for speed. Yep, Colin is banished. There's a penalty. He can't understand the Gary. He wasn't born into it. He only heard about Gary. We are the Gary. Exactly. You can't just insert yourself into this community. You've got to be brought in, welcomed in. You've got to demonstrate you can be part of Gary. Okay, so they did pull up the flooring here. So with that, we can go zone, grow zone 1, 2, 3, 4, and thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. And you're going to be set up to be fibercorn, which is terribly inefficient, but we do need one. Wood. You can name a random joins after chat and then murder them. Probably not, because we'll probably take significant mood penalties for that. We're already going to end up murdering chat when you become a Gary, and then you end up getting the, like, organ failure that we can't resolve, or, you get the cloning psychosis where, you know, one of the two has to die. There's definitely going to be chat murder going on this run. Probably drop the tribal mask, and for right now, make a veil. Okay, so we have one that's dealing with the growing. And we definitely are spreading them too thin, that they're not getting an extra enough time. Because we need more wood. The deserter is not Gary. That was Theodore. If the deserter was Gary, we would have welcomed them, but they're not. That's gonna run out of wood now. Okay, so one of our Garys is getting way better at plants. The other Gary is getting way better at intelligence. We're slowly diverging the skill of Gary. Like I said, that'll give me trace amounts of wood, so that we don't have to like constantly manually intervene and be like, go cut down some trees, when trees are very not common in the grasslands anyways. Like I said, unfortunately the fiber cord only gives you like 2 or 3 wood per each of these, so it's pretty appallingly bad. But, you know, wood has to happen somehow. I'm kind of just intervening to try and keep our meals getting cooked, to reduce food poisoning risk. Yeah, so you don't bother cooking at all. You can cook as a second, or you can plant as a secondary consideration. But as we copy the Garys, we will have them specialize. It's just what's going to be necessary for the colony. I wonder what the odds of randomly triggering this are. You'll definitely want to enclose this, just because And thank you, Fanul, for gifting a tier 1 sub to the community. I really do appreciate that. Means a heck of a lot. Gifting that tier 1 sub going to, Udokasun. I do appreciate that. For Gary's science. Thank you. But we'll probably want to block this in at some point, just so it doesn't get caught with like random shots or attacks as like fighting starts to escalate on the map. Eventually we'll also want to connect it to the main base so we can safely walk out here during attacks and all that to make sure to suppress that. That'll be the biggest risk, is when we have tougher encounters, to make sure we always keep the corrupted obelisk sorted. Honestly, if we get like the if we get a creepy joiner healing, unnatural healer on the colony, that might be something we have them do. Oh no, because then they would be randomly cloned. No, we don't do that. Never mind. Oh no, wait, they'd be ineligible for cloning. I wonder how that even work. Just never mind. I forgot what that. I was just like, oh yeah, we would need someone to suppress it. Can you put ship tiles under it and move it? I don't think so. I know they had lots of places you could do that trick. I want to say they did patch a bunch of that out so you couldn't just slip tiles into a lot of buildings like you could when Odyssey first came out. That there's just a lot of buildings. I think the other problem is it's a 3x3. And, well, actually, are you a 3x3? Yeah, you're 3x3, so I can't get to this tile. So I therefore can't pick it up. I guess if technically the obelisk landed on your ship stuff, it could be, but it's probably one of those things that once you put down the ship tiles, it's not eligible to land there. All right. Once I get this, I'll get a storage room over here somewhere. And I'll probably put another bedroom up here just to start with. Morning, I'm also Gary. We'll get there. We are going to continue getting our Gary clones going on. Alright, so with that, you're now caught up on all the planting, so you can start working on building again. And little by little, getting the home of Gary going. And once we can start producing a decent amount of wood, we can go in here and start putting fancy floors down. Right now, we're just going to put stuff to try and get rid of the negatives. All right. Since that's planning on being our rec room, actually, it's already an improvement on what we have, isn't it? Okay. So work on getting that. And these are getting close to being fully grown, so we'll start getting our first batch of corn. We'll probably want to switch one of these fields up between the two corn fields. Maybe a money-driven crop or whatever. Or just let it go for right now so that it's less work for the, less work for our one growing person who's trying to split their time between suppressing, growing, and construction. And then eventually wanting to get crafting going as well. We'll see how that all goes. Right, and we're also going to want to make sure we have a spare room, so if we get a hostile Gary, that we can capture hostile Gary. And also check out Tim the Sorcerer, another fantastic content creator, been doing some Satisfactory recently, but also does play RimWorld on quite the occasion and all that stuff. Very solid player, does a lot of really, really challenging runs, whatnot. So definitely, you know, if you enjoy RimWorld, which I assume if you're here watching right now, you probably do, you can definitely find that over there as well. Okay. Yeah, so it looks like those are growing about 5% per day. You know, just keep it going. Unfortunately, our cloth is rotting outside because I got no room for it. Maybe Research Gary is also Crafter Gary. So I could hopefully start trying to get some veils and other garbage like that made. Well, that'll interrupt some of the research getting done. We want to get more clothes to have more protection from the elements and all that kind of stuff. You know, we're early game, not many pawns, everyone has to wear many hats. Interesting that you didn't try and put it on immediately, but that's okay. You'll get there. Or you won't. I don't care. There you go. Oh, okay, I see what I did wrong. Also have tribal wear ready. There you go. I was like, why didn't they make the tribal wear? Right, I actually have the war mask still listed. Alright, both the Garys got their veils. On what's your deal? Ugly environment, slept in darkness. Or slept on ground, slept in the cold darkness. We don't have a reliable source of wood, so they're just gonna have to live with that whole darkness thing going on. Furniture. We don't have spare wood. Okay, so with this field, what would I want to consider doing as an alternative? We don't have any of the other stuff there. We have the heal root. The heal root takes an eternity growth, so we'll just make that more heal root. Because this should be more than we possibly need so far as the corn for right now. And we can make that into heal root and just let it take forever to grow. And we'll just have surplus medicine we can trade away as a means of making a little bit of money. And go with that. Yeah, honestly, if we get anything but hostile Gary, then we know the next Gary's probably gonna have to die. Well, no, if they're crumbling mine, like I said, I could probably use a Crumbling Mind Gary or two. We'll probably just give them a melee weapon. Let them add as the cannon fodder and do the one or two things that Crumbling Mind people can do. It's just what we'll have here, unfortunately. Okay. Now goes that planting. Level and fast. Details only count if it's normal or better. So just gonna have to do it. That does mean you are not going to craft. And you're not gonna research. We'll let them both share that, we'll let them both share that. Both hunting is fine. All the rest is fine. Until we get more Garys to specialize. That research is on fire. Yeah, unfortunately we are using the random one, so it did roll heavy bridges, which for your first tech is actually the second most expensive one you can have. And completely useless for this. Well, actually, completely useless for this map. There's no anything I could use the heavy bridges. So of all these starting researches, that is useless. Literally all the other ones I can use. I may not want to use them, but literally heavy bridge was the only option it had that is utterly useless for this map. Okay. Get that planted. Those got a little while to grow yet. Because that's fertile soil there and down here. The good news is as you get faster, you'll do this faster. Oh, we need you to cut down trees so that you have the ability to cook. All right. Hopefully that starts to be resolved. This is actually a colony I could really go for tree sowing. Put down an area down here like that big, a tree sowing would be set on wood for a long time. Stone cutting would also be huge for this one, just to get one, rid of all the stones nearby, and then two, then we can start framing this in stone so that we don't just have someone run up and set a building on fire. How's your melee? So you actually have a passion for melee. And the challenge here is they're all tough. Which does actually mean there's a better chance that when we go to subdue a hostile Gary, that they don't end up dying from it, because I've reduced damage per hit. So we're more likely to be able to build up the pain threshold till they drop from that versus death. But it's going to be the first hostile Gary or two that's going to be the hardest to subdue. Because right now it'll be 2-on-1, which we should handily win, of course. But that's not accounting for RNG, which can be ridiculous. Steel doesn't rot indoors. What you saw was a steel dagger rotted, and it was laying outside. Or, I don't know if it's a steel dagger or equa or whatever. There was a steel weapon outside. We haven't had a raid in a while. What's... Cassie's snoozing. Well, I am not allowed to let you join, because your name is not Gary. So go ahead and get out of here. Okay. Slowly but surely getting this all done. Yeah, we're definitely getting way too much crops, but that's okay. We'll get there. The blind fog should be dropping off pretty soon. Okay, this is the first risk of a proper fire. So what we're going to do here is to try and get ahead of this as best we can. We're going to say cut plants. And the other side should be fine. Now it's going to take a while to burn down there. We'll just let it burn. If we have to defend our crops, that's fine. Because this is the danger of the grasslands, is it almost never rains here. So when you get a fire like this, it does tend to burn out the large majority of the map. The good news is all my buildings are safe. They should not... Well, actually, there's a little bridge that this building could get burned down. The crops are not safe, though. They're still exposed on this area around the side. Which you are kind of working at, but we'll see when we get there. Now, you only have 2 people, so our ability to actually fight fire is pretty limited. So if it does get over here... Ah, there we go. So Gary's on top of clearing away all the grass. Most likely, like, 1 or 2 tiles will end up growing back before it gets here kind of deal. That's fine if that happens. We should be able to manage that a little bit. Vagabonds desire charity of 4 herbal medicine. We can accommodate that. Okay, they told us about a robber outpost. We do not care. Okay, you're just gonna do one tile if I do it that way. I can manually go through and tell them to do all the tiles one by one, but I am much too lazy for that. We'll do is we'll go when they wake up, plant cut 1. They'll chop all this up. And we're very, very rapidly ripping up all the plants. Just barely ahead of the fire. Like I said, realistically what happens here is some of that grows back. Okay. Yeah, so just making the fire break, you see how much of a difference that makes, where normally I'd be sitting here fighting this entire front the entire time. Now we're just dealing with like 1 or 2 pieces of grass that grew in here and there. This prevents that. Like I said, this spot is a potential problem just because the grass hasn't died yet. Okay. That way if we get a hostile area, I can try catching him real fast. Okay, that's too close. Put it out. Exactly. Trade's good person. Probably just gonna wade through the fire and get hurt. Okay, let's trade with you. Alright, so let's see what we got. So you don't want my medicine or anything like that. I've got 170 bucks. I can't really afford anything they have. I can grab 2 Glitter World, which is what I think I'm going to do. Actually, let's not, because they're standing right next to fire. Okay. Alright, so that takes care of all the threat on that side. Just have 1 or 2 tiles to deal with over here. Why are you going out that far? Oh. Don't worry about that spot. There you go. Alright, now that the fire's passed, let's go ahead and get the Glitter World. Because I'd be sad to spend the money on the Glitter World just for it to hit the ground and immediately catch fire. Alright. Fire well managed. Yeah, you can see here it has already burned out like 2/3 of the map. And it's just gonna rake across the whole thing till it's all gone. Which one of the real big pains with that is it is going to deal with all the trees. Which means not a whole lot of wood. Oh, don't cut that prematurely. Let it grow. It's already not much wood to start with. Don't refuel the fire. Proud Goat. So give me a goat with paralytic abasia, and we can take reputation. Sure. I have lots of materials here. I am fine putting down a Proud Goat. There's an animal spot for you. Where did the goat go? Rescue the goat. Don't worry about putting out the fire up here. Okay. Shambler's approach. 1. We can deal with the Shambler real fast. I forgot we have blind fog. You check the Shambler's name, Gary. The Shambler's name is not Gary. In hindsight, I probably shouldn't have done this while the blind fog was going on, but you know what? They're gaining shooting XP. It is what it is. I don't know which one you're chasing anymore. That's fine. It's handled. Okay. I can seal that side off as well. And thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Okay, now give me more room over there. And I'll seal this in a little bit more. And this will be our storage room. So we'll get it out of our production room over here so we stop taking the mood penalties there. It is just one of those things that we're just hurting for wood, and that's going to keep being a thing. Running late tonight? Yeah, a little bit. I've been doing that a lot this week. There's kind of one of those things, like, you want to get to a satisfactory end of the run, like pausing point in the run or whatever. Because we did just start this like an hour and a half before the end of stream's normal time. Just figured jump in, go a little while. Plus, you know, we've had like a really good turnout these last couple nights. It is just one of those things as a content creator. Sometimes you got a good turnout, you go a little bit longer. Because what opportunities you get is entirely based on your CCV, your average concurrent viewership. So, when you get an option to kind of fudge those numbers in your favor, you do it. Gotta do the hustle. Alright. Now, one thing we can do is once I feel comfortable, like we've got a couple of Garys that we could potentially, And thank you, Will Shipley, for the 5 gifty subs. I really do appreciate it. So thank you so much. It means a heck of a lot, and I really do appreciate it. All you heard was satisfactory, and your neurons are firing. It happens. We're still awake, so I appreciate it. Yeah, not as well as things. You know, when the night's going well, you roll with it. As long as you can, you know, obviously, like, if me and my wife had something going on tomorrow, you gotta do what you gotta do. But there's all that. Yeah, so now it's starting to burn on this side. And then we'll have burn the entire way across. Alright, Lexra, you take it easy. Please put out the fire. Okay, that should give me some breathing room till the morning. Yeah, now we got the gap in, so we get that last little bit of fire out, and then that should be done. Got some alpaca wool, which is always nice. Alright, so we got all that squared away. So now the entire map is basically burned down. Whole thing. Just is what it is. Is there a giant fire like that? Do you kind of get regrowth boost? You know, in real life, for example, that's a thing. It didn't bounce back. It's not so much a boost, but you will notice the grass is already growing back. The plants in RimWorld do grow pretty steadily and aggressively. Because otherwise, like in real life, you'd go through, you'd knock down a forest to cut down a bunch of trees, and you'd have to keep going out because of how long it takes for the forest to recover. But, you know, RimWorld, you can go and, like, chop down all the trees in an area, and by the next year, they're all back again. Versus real life, you go to an oak tree, and it's going to take you a good couple years for an oak tree to grow to any meaningful size. It was a good couple 2 years, we're talking, like, 15, 20, or more, depending on what you're aiming for your size. Like, minimum is talking, like, 10, 15 years to get anything worthwhile out of it. And even then, you'll be talking a pretty runty oak tree. Whereas, like, for proper lumbering, you're probably talking 20, 30, 40, 50 years. Depending on the oak. And the last little bit of all that going away. Yeah, but like I said, if you actually look at the map here, in this area, I could actually use the cutting tool to show you. All those tiles are grass that's already grown back. But it doesn't get some, like, magic boost or anything. It's just the nature of RimWorld. The plants do pretty aggressively grow. Yeah, no, absolutely. And even without fire or anything like that. Oh, hey, we're getting the first of our fiber corn up. Oh, actually, it's giving me a little bit more than what I thought it would. It's still not much. But that's the whole idea, is the fiber corn should give me a trickle feed. Okay. Oh, I need to keep your mood above 50%? So, I don't know that we'll actually succeed at this, because keeping someone above 50% of this stage of the game is going to be pretty tough. I'm going to accept it because the consequences of failing are pretty negligible. So you're going to arrive. Your schedule is you do recreation. And you stay in the home zone. And that's fine. So... Timberwolf is hunting bucks. Right, I have to manually tell him to shoot at it when it gets over here. Gary, move. We are so lucky that it didn't switch targets well. It probably would have been okay, but Gary would have been in danger of getting, like, friendly fired and all that. Okay. Yeah, so one of the things working against me is because we're on the planet side. They're gonna get mad. How long do I need to keep you? 7 days. We're only a hair above the required amount. I don't anticipate this going well. I anticipate getting about 1.5 days in, and then they throw a fit and leave. I'm just kind of hoping we can keep the recreation fully satisfied to keep that over the top. Okay, so blind fog is finally going to clear. Mood is exactly 50%, which is the requirement. We need to cook so Buck doesn't eat raw food. It's another mood penalty we can't afford. They're right on the fence because we got to keep them over 50%. So it's like, depending on which room they walk into, they're going over and under it. We'll see. I don't expect this is going to work great for us. You're uncomfortable because I don't have any chairs. And I don't have materials to make chairs. Like I said, I'm kind of expecting Buck to ditch. But if we do manage to get through the other side, I get a reward. And if I fail, we just take a minor reputation penalty, which whatever. And if we get food poisoning on them, we're absolutely doomed. Rare thrombos. We have animals too. Yeah, we're not taming any thrombos today. Just up and down constantly. Okay. Why is the goat not moving? It has paralytic abasia. So, basically paralytic abasia is it's pretty much temporarily paralyzed. Eventually it'll get over it. But that's just because it's a quest animal. It's just sitting there kind of knocked down. Not all of them are that way, but that is one. That's sometimes the game will give you free colonists. That's kind of the gimmick, is they land there. And they have paralytic abasia for the first like 30 days or 15 days or whatever. So you have to kind of just take care of them at the start of the run until they get over the paralytic abasia, and then you get the colonist to actually use. I'm amazed you've not dipped so low that you've, failed the mission or whatever. Because we have to keep them over 50% on the average, and we're at 51%. And pretty soon I'll be able to move all this storage stuff in here, so this stops taking an ugly environment penalty. We could then start flooring in more of these places so they don't get the ugly environment penalty. Just gonna take time. And I think at that point, we stop building. Like, maybe I'll put a couple columns so I can put a fire break along here. But we probably stop there. And that way we don't continue to increase our wealth until we've got more Garys. Well, that's not going to help. So that's probably what it took to push us over the edge, because that's now -4, and we were holding at exactly the amount we needed. But because we attempted to convert them, it upset them. Alright, here we go again. It's fire time. Oh wait, never mind, it's a rainy thunderstorm, we're okay. As long as the fire mostly goes out by the time the rain's done. Huh. I'm genuinely surprised that... Oh no, you are below the required 50. Oh no, okay, I don't have to keep you above 50. I get an extra goodwill if we keep above 50. That's fine. The 50% is optional. Okay, we're good. So we'll just get the telescope. Alright. What telescope do? It's another type of recreation. And your characters will get bored of doing the same type of recreation again and again and again. So you do want to have a couple different varieties. You only need like 4 or 5 all the way into the late game. But at the beginning you only have like 1 or 2 you can get, like, I think it's 2 that you can start with that you can deterministically do, and then they have 2 that they can kind of do on their own. But if you get 1 or 2 in addition to that, you're pretty much set on the recreation. As long as they can get access to it, it's fine. But right now, my recreation options are the Hoopstone and the Game of and then they also have, like, meditation and that kind of thing that they'll do on their own. But, if we get the telescope, that's another option on top of that. Okay. So we're getting pretty close to getting this room done and moving everything in there. And then after that, it's let them keep processing, and we'll slowly get floors in on everything. Like I said, I'll probably put a row of columns along the, row of columns along the edge of the field here and have them put the fire break on the outside of that as well. And that might just be the way we live with the colony up until the point that we get stone. Once we get stone, what we'll probably do is, like, honestly, just this outside frame. I'll probably put the stone wall around the outside frame, make some type of defensive position down here, and then we'll rip up the roofs in between here. Maybe keep the roof that's between the houses. Well, no, maybe we don't remove the roofs. We'll leave it there. They'll complain about the darkness, but I'm thinking we could have grass grow in there and then lightning strike the grass. And then we're back to square one. Of, you know, everything on fire. Plus, it also does protect if we have raiders get in and set a building on fire, or pyromaniac, or anything like that. You know, like refugee pyromaniac. Because we will be allowed to take refugees, not to keep them, but like as the help them out. But if they ask to join, the answer is going to be no. Because they're not Gary. Alright, so we got another person here. They're showing up. Slow learner, kind. They move at less than normal speed. I think it said you were a Hussar? Yeah, so a Hussar. Gotta earn your keep, Buck. You did your job. Good job. And you are far enough away you didn't even take the mood penalty for witnessing a death. I'm pretty sure. You can now remember if packed dirt floor used for fire breaks is a mod or added in Odyssey. I'm pretty sure it's a mod. Yeah. Because, like, you can use the stone, but everything else here is flammable. Okay. Now, the downside is they're going to take forever to get Mad Muffalo. Bike it free clothes. Hey, don't punish me for that. Get this one out of here before Buck sees it and gets mad about it. Honestly, at this point, it could be either and both. Yeah, no, it's not, because, like, it's not under miscellaneous. So you can do cheeky stuff, like put down graves and all sorts of stuff to force them. Like, there are options to create fire breaks. For me, I just use the roofs. The downside of the roofs is they do mean you get the darkness penalty, unless you start setting up lights and all that, but then why are you bothering? But just because this particular map is one that is, you know, particularly flammable, we're using them pretty aggressively. Oh, you're right. This person might barely eke out the 50%. We'll see. continue to suppress that thing. So we'll see at what point we get a here comes. You might be able to put him in a larger room to get a better bonus. That is a fair point. How many drugs to shove in him? No. Nope, it's also the average. We were at exactly 50%. Well, actually, we're staying on top of cleaning. If we look at that, it is mostly cleaned. Like, if we go in here, you can't choose to clean it. Because they do actually have Wrong Gary set as a higher priority cleaning, so they're staying pretty much on top of the cleaning at all times. The reason why we haven't been dealing with any, like, food poisoning due to dirty rooms or anything like that. Yeah, no, they bring the beauty down. But I don't think that's going to matter one way or the other because the dirt is already -3. So you're basically maxed out an ugly environment in there. You go to the room, it's going to be beauty hideous, beauty ugly. I guess it is one tier lower. Stop trying to convert Buck. We had Buck over 51%, and you're trying to convert him at the 11th hour, just in time to knock that mood down. If we're lucky, I can run him to the shuttle before his mood crashes from the failed conversion. Oh, you ate a fine meal because you looted a fine meal. I don't think there's any more, though. Raider attacking immediately. They're a genie. We're gonna let Buck just do their thing. We are not shooting past the Muffalo. Oh, hey. And problem solved. No, Buck won't work, so it doesn't matter. Even if we had a preferred, he doesn't work. We've already got him set to max recreation as well. Come on, shuttle. Before that conversion, resentment drags him down. Yep, we did. Let me quickly do this. Has Bloodlust should run into that fight? Yeah, if we could land the hit, he would probably gotten it. He's also delicate and everything. It's fine. We actually might get across the finish line just a-okay. Shuttle has arrived. Jump here. Get in the shuttle and leave immediately before you can crash. I don't know if we got the extra credit or not. Yep, we got the extra credit with a average of 51%, so we did get 1 extra point. I'm assuming we would have gone up by whatever amount we had. So there we go. Telescope right in the middle. New recreation. Alright, though, with that said, though, chat, I've already gone an hour over what I should have, so I'm going to be wrapping up for the night, but we will see where this goes the next stream. There will most likely be a stream tomorrow. That'll probably be at the regular time. Friday is a maybe, maybe not. Depends. Me and Tomb, like 2 months ago, I'll do like a date night or whatever, which sounds good. I should say a date day or whatever. But it kind of depends on what we ultimately decide to do, because usually Thursdays and Fridays are my days off. I do tend to stream them anyways, but you know, there is a good chance that Friday we will I'll be doing something with Tomb, and most likely Saturday will be just a normal stream. We'll pick up. So with that said, if you're watching over on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe, but the stream will be ending over there because I don't have a host ready, but thank you so much for tuning in. And if you're over here on Twitch and you have enjoyed tonight's content and you're not already following the channel, don't forget to follow. That way you can find your way back here in the future. That is kind of how this whole thing works.